I'm a motherfucking beast, girl. In this jungle out here, beware. When you see me in these motherfucking streets, girl. Like I don't even care, be clear. I'ma tell you exactly what you wanna hear sometimes. I'ma mean that shit sometimes. I won't mean that shit, I'm trying to find a way to beat that shit. Tell you exactly what you wanna hear, and I'ma have fun with it. Give me your heart and I'll run with it. Give it back in pieces when I'm done with it.
What up, everybody? We're back for another episode. I am your co-host, A Smalls.
And I am your girl, Dominique Renee. What's going on? We back,
people. So I hope y'all enjoyed the last episode. I hope you are getting an opportunity to watch us on mnn.org and on BronxNet. So if you go to our website, therelationshipdna.com, we have all the information listings to the podcast, to the YouTube page, and the television listings. So as I continue to try to promote, I hope y'all follow through. And don't feel free or feel scared to hesitate to send us an email at therelationshipdna@gmail.com. All right. So with that being said, let me read out today's topic. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Today's topic is, how do they slip through the cracks if you yourself isn't broken? AKA the poor pickers. So that is the title. We're going to get into that. We're going to explore everything that has to do with the theory between opposites attract versus you attracting exactly what you are, and you getting the experience that you actually vibrate on that frequency. You know, like sometimes people want to blame everybody else, but sometimes it starts with us, starts inside, not outward. So before we get to that, we're going to go to our first segment called the morning affirmation. So D. Renee, what you got for the folks today?
I'm going to keep it short and simple. So usually I say have some from a book, but I did get inspired from a meme. I love coffee. As everybody know, I'm always talking about coffee. So a friend of mine had posted these memes, and they were like it's a coffee cup, and on the coffee cup cover, there were like these sayings on there. So one of the sayings that caught me was, "You're not selfish from distancing yourself from people who drain you." So I was just like, wow, that would be really dope if people like walked around with these affirmations as they sip their morning coffee. So we always talk about like, you know, morning affirmations and stuff like that. So imagine if people were just walking around with all these positive and uplifting things, and like you're walking in the street and you pass by, you see somebody and that's written on a coffee cup, or you're sitting next to them on the train, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And so that really like caught my attention, and I just want to share that with you guys.
That's great. Let's see what I got for the folks. So the topic talks about being broken. Mm-hmm. And I guess I will speak today like, how do you know if you're broken? Do you ever have self-doubt? Mm-hmm. Do you ever have insecurities? Do you ever have past trauma that still affects you to this day, or makes you afraid to love, to date, to be around other people's space? And if you do, you might be broken and you might need fixing. Therefore, therapy is now virtual. You don't got to travel. You don't have to go anywhere. Apps and technology have made it easy for you to take the first steps towards self-healing, self-awareness, self-embetterment. Even though that's not a word, I love the way it sounds. Mm-hmm. So that is the morning affirmation. So next segment, the relationship role play.
Yes.
You ready for this? So this is how it goes. We give you the topic and we act it out. The topic today is, a couple has been dating for about 6 months. Both are already in relationships, and both are mad at each other that they've been lying and not telling the truth about their serious relationships. So D. Renee has the character trait of blame, and I have the character trait of lie. So let's start this timer for 2 minutes. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. And go. So, I saw you on IG today, and it says you engaged. Can you play it? Explain, like, all right, why are you engaged? Oh, why are you engaged and dealing with me? if you're supposed to be in a relationship?
I just got engaged. We wasn't engaged last week. When we met, I told you that I was in between. I was very vulnerable at that time. So I didn't know he was going to ask me.
But I was just in between. So I'm curious to know, how'd you just get engaged and we've been dating for 6 months?
You got to ask him. He asked me. I didn't ask him to marry me. Like, you knew I loved him.
I didn't know you had a man to begin with. I thought it was just me and you.
I told you I had an entanglement.
Entanglement don't make no sense. Like I was beefing with my girl the other day, and I'm just like, some people lie for no reason.
You beefing with your girl? Wait, when you had a girlfriend?
That's not the point. What I'm saying
the
is
point. Okay,
the
so
point
now
is,
you mad at me that I am engaged,
the point,
and you lying
no.
about a relationship, a whole relationship.
No, I've been serious. I've been serious with her, and I've been serious with you.
How you serious with two people?
Because when you ask me a question, I don't lie.
You never asked me if I was engaged or if I was with somebody, and I never asked you if you had a girlfriend. So
I assumed that because we were doing, what we were doing, that we were trying to build something serious. So I'm just curious to know why you just didn't tell me the truth.
You on my Instagram.
You on my Instagram too. Who do you see on my Instagram? Just me.
Well, I didn't post that. My homegirl posted that, like in the stories. I didn't know that you don't even be in my stories like that. Yo, the 2 minutes is going too fast.
Oh man, but the last time we went for like 5 minutes. That's why we showed the 2 minutes. Maybe next time we'll try 3 minutes. All right.
Okay.
All right. So I hope everybody enjoyed that little bit of humor. As I always say, we have a small background in acting. We enjoy doing these role plays. We think we should definitely take it up to the next level. So maybe next
whole
time
episode.
We'll do 3 minutes. All right. So now that is out the way, let's get back to the topic at hand. How do they fall through the cracks if you yourself isn't broken? AKA the poor pickers. When you hear that topic, what goes through your mind?
Me. I used to be a poor picker. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm an open book. I tell the truth. Sometimes broken people seek broken people, because if we're with somebody that got their shit together, we can't be together, because if someone has their stuff together, you have nothing but to reflect that you're a broken person. But if this person is crazy and doing all this type of stuff and you crazy, it's like, how they say two crackheads could love each other forever. It's like we both addicted to the drama and the trauma that we stick together, because all we know is being toxic. So I've been in situations where I know I shouldn't have been with this guy, but I'm not together anyway. I'm still dealing with somebody on the side, but he acting up right now. So I just need a seat filler. But I already know he in another situation, kind of like our role play. So it's like, I'm just, buying time until old boy come back, and then I just leave him to the side and go back to the next one. So when you're a person that really I didn't know what I want. Let's be clear. I did not know what I want, because I did not know who I was. It took a lot of self-reflection. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of therapy. It took a lot of self-love and accountability for me to realize what I want in a relationship, what I deserve in a relationship, and who I am as a person. So I feel like once I got those 3 things down, and number 1, who I am as a person, then everything fell into place. So I feel like if you're together, you're going to you already know what to look for, because you are reflecting those characteristics. But if you're broken, you're looking for somebody to fill those pieces. But I'm not. If you're a person that's growing and developing, those pieces are being mended myself. Like, I'm picking up the pieces. Like they say, you pick up the pieces.
Just pick up the pieces. Pick up the pieces. Pick up the pieces.
And you move on. You pick up your own pieces. You build your own puzzle piece, and you come into a beautiful picture, and you move on, and you find the next thing. So
you're broken and you're dating, but at the same time you're blaming. How does one ever actually recognize that brokenness in themselves if the portion of blame is always everybody that they date versus the common denominator, which is self.
Somebody has to be the voice of reason. The voice of reason wasn't my friends because, you know, at times your friends could sometimes be a reflection of who you are. Like, even though they may see the brokenness in you, they're broken themselves. So it's like, you can't, that's like the pot, what do they say? The pot calling the kettle black or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
So it's like,
I never understood that.
I never understand it either, but it's like, you're sitting here you're sitting here saying that I'm in a damaged relationship, but you in one too. So it's like, how can you judge me? So it's like, you really don't get out of it until you get an outside point of view. And mine was therapy. My therapist was able to let me see my own faults. You know, a lot of people think they go into therapy and a therapist is going to tell you how to get your life together. No, a therapist is going to help you resolve, is going to help you reflect, so you can use the tools. They'll give you tools and they'll give you steps, but they give you the steps and tools to build your own foundation to become who you are as a person. And people think they go to therapy to get fixed, or no, they go to therapy thinking that the therapist is going to fix them. But no, the person is just a guide to help you fix yourself. So the key for me was therapy. It was, my spirituality, and it was just self-love. Those three things were able to help me get better in building myself back, stop blaming other people, and take accountability for my actions and become a better person.
But you know what's interesting? You brought up therapy. So therapy does have a lot of negative connotations among, I'll say, our community.
Yeah, the Black person.
But not during for other communities. However, what is it about the therapist that people tend to actually listen versus the mate, the best friend, the family member who gives the same advice or even great advice, but when they hear it from a third party, they be like, "Oh, that makes sense," and then you could be looking at somebody like, "I said that." So explain that a little bit for us.
For me, it's like it's all in your head, I think, honestly, because there's a lot of things that my therapist has said that I have heard from other people and it just didn't click. But I believe it wasn't my time. I think it's all in timing. I can't call it. I can't say because, oh, she's a therapist, that I listen to her and not listen to other people. The reason why I may have not listened to other people, maybe because they were in similar situations and they didn't want me to make the same mistakes as they have. But I felt when my therapist told me, I was in the time of being receptive. Because somebody could tell you something, you can listen, and there's a difference between listening and comprehending. You could listen to somebody, but if you comprehend what someone is saying, you're taking in that those words and you're applying it to your life. So I feel at that time, I took that commitment of wanting to change, that commitment to wanting to be a better person. And I had an open ear to really listen to what she was saying at that time.
That's interesting, because I live by this quote that I heard that made so much sense from, how you say you got to get out of your own head, you got to grow up, you got to mature a little bit. And that quote is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I don't think it's that deep in a sense of you go looking for the teacher. I think it's saying the teacher is available. It could be your friend, your family, your mate, or whoever. But when you're ready to hear from that teacher, they're still there to give you the life lessons or give you that clarity that you need. So therapy and building yourself up to not be broken. What are some of the things from people that you see in terms of trauma that causes them to be broken? Can you give us some of the elements or some of the ingredients that you think? As my son just walked in the camera.
That's all right. Communication. I feel a lot of people are not comfortable in expressing their feelings because they feel people will judge them and they don't want to be vulnerable. I've learned this, one of the key steps of healing is vulnerability. You have to be open to express yourself and your feelings and not have like this wall or defense mechanism up. I think once you're able to be vulnerable and talk about things and be receptive to hear the things you may not want to hear. That is one of the steps to grow and not become broke, not be broken anymore. I think a lot of people are scared to be vulnerable. Even a lot of people are scared, even this avenue that we have, like a lot of people are scared to ask us questions. And I know a lot of topics that we hear, I have conversations with people, you know, in confidence. And it's like, why are you scared to not know that, to know that the key that may help you? This may help you. This may get you out the situation. Or it may be somebody in the same situation that you're going through and they've gotten out of it. Don't you want to get out? That's how I feel.
No, and a lot of times, since because I asked that question, is because as a person who's been through therapy a few times, you know, trying to figure out life, trying to make myself better, improve, and everything, to make sure you make better choices. Therapy definitely getting to the root of why you're broken or why you feel damaged or why you feel down helps you make better decisions for some reason. And I feel like a lot of times when I was younger, I made a lot of poor choices on purpose because I wanted to feel pain, but I didn't want to cause pain. So I would do something knowing it was wrong just to feel like I'm unworthy of anything great. But therapy actually let me get to the root of it. And sometimes the root of it is a childhood trauma. I was just talking to my son the other day that we were listening to music and I told him certain songs that I played from, these trigger me this because this happened. So every time I hear this song, I remember the date, the time, where I was at, and why I was in tears. And I can't unhear or unsee that trauma whenever these songs come on. Now I played them a few songs, told them the era, told them why, told them where I was at, how I was feeling. And that is a form of brokenness, but understanding where the pain comes from. So that's why I wanted to do this topic. It came to me like, wow. But also because we're a relationship podcast and we talk a lot about relationships, let's talk to the fact that people say opposites attract. How does the law of attraction plays into this topic right now? I'm just curious to know, what do you think? How does this the laws of attraction play into this? Because everybody say opposites attract, and I think opposites don't really attract. I think the brokenness within all of us attracts each other. So what do you have to say about it?
When it says the opposites attract, I don't believe that, because I feel like we usually gravitate towards people who have the same kind of
damage
and hangups that we do. So what opposite have attracted? Because I think the opposites attract when you don't know yourself. Like, I feel like when people say, like, I hear people when they find the person they're supposed to be with, I would have never picked this person, or I would have never imagined that I would like this person or this stuff. That's when I think the opposites attract. When you are in the right frame of mind and when you are ready to receive the right person in your life. I don't think opposites attract when you are damaged, you broken, you're toxic, all that negative energy, it gravitates towards it. So I agree with the opposites attract when you're in the right place and frame of mind. But listen, I know that I've been with the toxic, the damage, the hurt, the liar, the cheat. I've been with all of them because I've been that person. But now I feel like I'm more receptive to dating somebody who has a different point of view than I am, because I am not scared to be open. I'm not scared to be vulnerable. I'm not scared to do something different. So that's when I feel like the opposites attracts, because you are willing to be open to learn something new, or to be out of your comfort zone, to engage in something different. That's when I feel like the opposites attract.
So,
but not that good. Good stuff.
So I get your point. I will only disagree that still opposites don't attract, because in a frame of mind, your vibrations still attract. Just because you might not like the same things, you think opposite attract. But if you have a low level vibration, if you have a broken spirit and you find another person that's low level vibrating, or another low level spirit, and y'all find each other, that's the attraction. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, I think they apply that, like, you know, he likes to drink and I don't. We like each other, opposites attract. And it's kind of like, nah, but you a liar just like he a liar.
See, I don't think it's characteristics like that. Like, That's like saying, oh, I like coffee and he likes tea. Opposites attract. Like, no, I feel like it's when different interests. Like, I never thought I would date somebody who loves to travel and I like to stay home. Like, I think it's like different type of lifestyle, not like a preference. Or I like pizza and he likes hamburgers, like, or I like Italian food and he likes Chinese. Like, no, I think it's really personality, deep traits. Or I never thought I would like, you like me, I'm a talkative type of person. I could never think I would see I don't think I would see myself with someone who's more laid back and reserved. But I feel like I do need somebody more laid back and reserved because they can balance me out. I need calmness sometimes because I'm all over the place. I need somebody to be like, listen, be quiet, take a breath. Let's just have some quiet time. So I feel like I've always felt I needed somebody to keep up with me, all this high energy, someone to talk back to me, someone to da-da-da-da. And no, I think I really need somebody who has more zen, somebody who's more laid back, has a different approach, and can help me calm all this stuff that's going on in my head. So I feel like that's when it comes with the opposites attracts and those type of highs and lows that people need, the balance and the zens. That's what I feel.
Gotcha. Well, you mentioned earlier crackheads. I used to always say when I was young, I was like, I wish somebody loved me like a crackhead.
Crackhead, right?
Because I've seen the same crackhead since I was like 12, still together. And even through all the fights and all stuff like that, still together, still rocking each other longer than marriages. And I'm like, yo, what is it about the crackheads that I can add to my marriage? Like, that journey stay together forever, huh?
Forever.
So we talk about characteristics, we talk about attraction, we talk about all stuff like that. Just like crackheads that are deeply in love, there's still poor character traits in each other when it comes to dating. Why do we always seem to never recognize poor traits in the people that we attract?
What they say, cliche, we ignore the red flags. I think we ignore the red flags, or we're so not vulnerable. We're so, I'm using desperate, the desperation that we don't want to see those red flags. It's like, okay, he likes me. Okay, he's accepting me. And I think the person is accepting the crazy because they just as crazy as me. So if I'm toxic and they toxic and I'm not taking a look at the red signs, it's like, okay, well, he's dealing with me. He knows that sometimes I don't pick up the phone or sometimes I'm doing this and doing that. It's because we both dodging each other's red signs, red flags. And I feel that's the reason why we do that.
So are we really ignoring the red flags, or are we welcoming the chaos that we already feel we deserve?
I never looked at that. I don't know if we deserve chaos.
No, the reason why I said deserve is because it's called self-sabotage. I said earlier when I was younger and I felt damaged, I never felt worthy of anything. So mentally, I would kick into a mode where I would do that I know that was wrong, but I didn't know how to stop doing it. And then once I got that justification that I'm a terrible person, I felt comfortable, which is weird. So
being terrible.
Listen, it's mental. It's mental. You never know how bad it is until you can actually understand where everything comes from. But that, I believe, is called self-sabotage. So when we say we ignore red flags, are we actually welcoming the self-sabotage?
I think we are, because I know there's a lot of people, and I think settling is self-sabotage as well. I feel a lot of people, they give up. Like, I just want to be alone, or I'm better alone. And I had a friend who said that lately, and I was just like, she's giving up. And it's like, no matter how, I'm a hopeless romantic. Like, deep down in my heart, I just come to the realization that I'm a lover of love. Even though, and at a time, I really thought to myself, oh, I'm just never going to find somebody who's going to love me for me. And well, I never said I was going to be alone, because I ain't never going to be alone. But she's just like, I'm just better off alone. And I'm just like, nobody is better off alone. Like, I just feel like you're so disappointed or frustrated that you rather be alone than to keep trying to find love or trying to find the right person, because something deep down you didn't fix. It's something, and that's what I think it really is. like I've come to the conclusion now of where I'm at being single and who I am as at this age. It's because I'm not done yet. I'm not done with the work. I feel you're gonna find a person when you're done with the work. The work is not done. So you can't really focus so much. Like you could date, you can, like my therapist says, you know, go out on dates, collect data, do what you gotta do, have fun, because that's what it is to be single. But you still gotta do the work. And I feel like we get into these little situations where we get comfortable and we think, oh, this person is the one, but no, they're not the one because your work is not done. You're not complete. You're not the person you're supposed to be. So if you're not the person you're supposed to be, how you think you're going to find a person you're supposed to be with? So I kind of look at it that way.
You said something that stands out to me when I speak to people about being complete. I heard this, and I can't remember where I heard it from, but I heard it one day, and they said, do you know what perfection or completeness is? That means to be done. So you normally are done when you're dead because there's nothing else to work on.
I
So
mean, I think
you never want to be complete because that means there's nothing else to do. So as human beings that wake up every single day with something new to do, there's always work to be done. Now you can be comfortable alone because you don't want to do the work. But nobody technically, I think, wants to be on earth alone or in the world suffering alone, especially when you get older and you need like family and friends to take care of you or to make sure that you're good if you're going through anything like that. You never want to be alone. But I think people are comfortable being alone when they're comfortable not putting in the work, as you say, to heal, not to be complete, but to
heal. Yes. To heal, to be receptive of love. I feel like sometimes we know the person they're supposed to be with, and they're like I have these two, this couple that I know. They've knew each other as friends or passing for years. And now they're in this great loving relationship. And they're like, wow, the person I was supposed to be was right in my face. And it's like, sometimes we just don't see that because we don't even see ourselves. And so I feel like the process of healing, the process of really seeing oneself is reflection, is really digging deep. Like I have these negative thoughts. Like I don't feel sometimes I'm ready to really have somebody who loves me. Like I have to think of that sometimes. Like, am I really worthy? Do I feel like I'm worthy? Like you said, you feel like you're worthy of love. And there's times where I felt like I wasn't. Like there was something wrong with me. Like I'm not complete. And then I've always thought to myself, like, well, I'm myself. I was put on this earth to love, for somebody to love me. So just me being me should be enough, you know? And I think sometimes we have to just look in the mirror, you know, just plain and as we are, when we wake up fresh in the morning, like I am enough. I am enough for love. I am enough to be worthy of everything great in my life. And I think once we really come to that conclusion and we're comfortable is when we find the true bliss. We find the true healing. We find our true selves.
You mentioned something that's interesting to me. You talk about wanting to be loved and seeking love. Is it possible to find loved while you're still broken? Wouldn't you find somebody that recognizes your incompleteness and be happy to bookmark themselves in your life as you're incomplete? Because you won't recognize this stranger or this person that means no greatness in your life. Do you think it is easy for somebody who doesn't love themselves to find love?
Well, there are some love stories or for instance, a couple that I don't know personally, but I know as of like, you know, seeing the person, they just got married and she said, thank you for helping me love again. You know, sometimes the person is put there in your life to help you. I'm not saying they're the therapist, you know, they may not be the professional, but I guess the universe puts them in that position to be that professional, to help you see, to be that person that pushes you to the next step, the person that sees the best in you. Because sometimes we don't see the best in ourselves. And, you know, a lot of people, when they do their prenuptials, prenuptials, what they call it, the vows. I'm sorry.
Wedding vows.
Yeah, the vows. They say that, you know, you helped me become a better person. You were there at my lowest. You helped me get through. So I believe that everybody's love journey is differently because I hear those stories. And so maybe that person was put in that person's life at that time to help them get to the healing, or they allowed them. There's plenty of guys out there that has been super sweet to me who have told me you are this, you are that, but I wasn't ready or receptive. So that could have been my blessing, or he could have been, you know, the one. I mean, or he could have, I don't know how the story maps out. I don't know how love, you know, I know how love works because I feel it. I don't know how my love story will end because I don't feel like I have met that person yet, but maybe I haven't. I'm just not open and receptive to it. But I know that there's a lot of guys that have spoken to me and have spoken life into me. Like even male friends that have told me like, look, Dominique, you're a beautiful person. You have a lot to offer. Or even girlfriends have spoken life into me. So it's like, maybe there are people who are supposed to be put into your life to make you realize who you are as a person. And that's the person you're supposed to be with. I feel everybody's love journey is different.
And I feel like, as you said, the universe will put you on a course to meet various people that's supposed to either point out something for you to improve on or work on, or to assist you in some way to get to that next level. I think the universe wants you to get to the best you are, or to the end game and stuff like that. And we just have to start recognizing the people that comes in front of us. What are they there? What are they serving? How long are they staying? What have they shown me along the journey? But I want to ask you, in terms of vibration, because we're talking about the whole opposites attract and don't attract and stuff like that. Have you ever fell in love or felt for somebody just based off of pure, like, their vibration, their energy, their aura, versus like you just like somebody because they look good? Yes. Talk about that vibration, that aura.
There was this one guy, like I was not attracted to him at all. Like he is not, like, everybody be like, yo, what do you see in him? It's his energy. Like he just was motivated. He made me laugh. We could talk about I could be pissed off at him and we could talk about anything. And it's just that he had that connection. I was able to be vulnerable and comfortable with him and felt that connection with him that I've never felt with anybody else. Even though it was toxic as fuck, but it was different. It was the vibe. It was the vibes, as they say, the vibes, whatever. And I think that we have a beautiful friendship. We are great friends now, but he toxic as hell. Like he needs some therapy, but he's a great person. You know, I can't knock that he's not a great person. He's just not a great boyfriend or a great person to be in a relationship with, but he is a great friend. If I need to talk to him about something that's going on, if I need like to joke about something or talk about my family struggles or my friends or anything like that, he's the person I could call and we could key it up for hours. But on a relationship level, nah, he's not ready for that. That's not what he wants. And I have to respect that. You got to kind of know people's positions in your life. And once I learned his position in my life, we became best of friends.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that vibration, that energy is dangerous.
Yep.
When I was single a few years back, and you know, you have friends that you link up with here and there, you go to events or you work at a spot, and like there's always one person who every time you're around them, they just make you feel like, damn, something about that spirit. Her spirit is dope. Yeah. But I can't cross that line because either she's in a relationship or I feel like this energy that I have every time I see her, every time she see me, it'll instantly disappear. Versus just loving the allure of that vibration when we see each other. So that's why I brought it up. Can you answer to when men or women constantly allow a certain type to fall through the cracks? which equals to their brokenness.
Mhm.
But I feel like when you get the same horrible experiences over and over again, it's like the universe sending you a 911 to say something is wrong with you and you need to fix it. Do you agree with that analogy?
I totally agree with that analogy. It's a song by Deborah Cox and Whitney Houston called Same Script, Different Cast. It'd be the same situation, different dude. My issue was always dating somebody who was unavailable emotionally or commitment issues. I used to always get Mr. No Commitment, Mr. I'm in between girlfriends, Mr. I'm confused. Those were the three Misters that I used to always get. And the reason why I liked that, because I could balance. I know that was my I already knew what it was. Because it's like when you're in a relationship and I know this sounds really dumb, but dealing with growing up with infidelity, I always wanted to be the woman who I always wanted to be no, this sounds really dumb talking about this now, but I really realized this in therapy. I always wanted to be the woman who knew. I never wanted to be the woman who didn't know. So I'd rather a guy tell me he's confused about another girl. Well, this is how it used to be. I ain't like that no more. I'd rather a guy tell me he's confused about another girl. So at least I know about the other girl. So I'm not the one in the dark. She the one in the dark. But the stupid thing about me is that how I know he telling me the truth. He just telling me what he wants me to know to keep me at bay. Because I'm stupid enough to be receptive and okay with that. So I'm feeling I got the upper hand. But no, I'm cheating myself out of a guy who really wants to be with me, who can commit to me, who can just be with me. And so I had to learn, like, Dominique, that is not normal. And I reflected on it and I learned in therapy it's because I was scared of being the woman that didn't know, or feeling like I was being dumb because I didn't know, or being naive, or different things like that, because I've seen my mom go through, infidelity issues with my father and her relationships that she's been through. And I just never wanted to be that woman, worrying about where my husband's at, or worrying about if there's another woman, or everything like that. And so I had to get out of that mind frame that it doesn't matter if I know or not, I deserve to be with somebody who wants to just be with me. And so that's what I learned.
I gotcha. So another thing that sticks to the topic that I wanted to talk about was the power of selective ignorance. Because we all tend to know right from wrong. We all tend to know good and bad characteristics. But for some reason, we have a strong power to be selective in what we ignore. How does one find love in ignoring so much in dating?
Because we don't know what love is. I feel like you don't know what it is. Honestly, like it's selective hearing. Like, when you were younger and, your parents were like, well, if you could you could hear. Like it's kind of like that. Like, if you already know what's going on, or he's like this, what makes you think you different, and we don't want to see the signs. We ignore. Like, what is it? They're like these sayings that we used to grow up with. Don't go looking unless you're ready to know the truth. Like, what?
But there's some power in that, though.
that is right. And so it's like you grow up hearing these things, and it's like, nah, like I want to know the truth. Like, why turn the other, even things in the Bible, like turn the other cheek. Like, why am I neglecting? Why am I looking left when I should be looking right? Like, or look at what's right in front of me, So it's like these things that we grew up hearing, we use it to our advantage. Like, don't go looking for things, if you don't want to know the truth. So you take those type of sayings and you flip it around, or turn the other cheek. Okay, I'm just not gonna pay attention to it. Whatever. Oh, it's just social media. Da da da. That's his friend. He's just showing his friend some love.
There's the reason why I brought that up, because and you hit it right on the head, because in a past relationship, I had all the evidence in the world, not say optic, like I didn't see it, but I had emails, text messages, emails that she thought she deleted, but I pulled up a carbon copy, and that's where it's not the website laid out, it's just the wordings on the page. And she was like, how did you do? Don't worry about how I did. I know how to use computers, but explain this. And she couldn't explain it, but I stayed. And it's kind of like the selective ignorance in, hey, you got all the evidence that this is a waste of your time. Why are you allowing it? Why are you staying? Why are you coping with it? And a lot of times my staying and my coping came from my brokenness. I didn't value myself. I didn't love myself. So the power of my selective ignorance kept me in the beginning stages of healing. I never stepped on the board and passed go to play the game like Monopoly. I was literally standing at the start sign saying, I'm not going to jump on this board yet, because I'm comfortable being ignorant to the fact that, yeah, she's cheating and you're saying so, make it easier for a person. That's the reason why I brought that up.
And I think also to go on to that, it starts with the little breadcrumbs. Like first it's, staying out late and you don't say nothing. Then it's like not coming home for one night. I'm not saying this is what happened. Then it's not coming home one night. Some of that
stuff happened.
Yeah. Then you let it slide. So it's like if you do not put your foot down in the beginning, and not even saying put your foot down, like be arguing, but you let a person know your boundaries from the beginning, it's just a slippery slope. You're going to just keep accepting. And then next thing you know, it's been a week and you don't even know where he at. It's like, how did I let him get away with all this? And it's like, we have to know our boundary. We have to know who we are from the jump. And once you see something from the beginning, respect yourself enough to have self-worth to say, listen, this makes me feel uncomfortable. If you want to be with me, then this is how it has to be. Not being demanding or feeling like I'm putting my foot down, but this is the respect factor to make me feel comfortable in this relationship. If you respect me and you respect this relationship, this is what we're not going to do. This is what I am going to accept. This is what we can do moving forward. And I feel we don't do that because we don't love ourselves at that point.
Now, before we end the topic and get into the final questions and stuff like that, I wanted to bring it back to brokenness. Yes, people are broken, and yes, it creates broken relationships, but let's touch on the family aspect, the generational curses of brokenness. When everybody's broken, everybody's lying to each other, everybody's self-sabotaging and keeping secrets. How does that damage the legacy or the lineage of a family when everybody has a secret, everybody's broken, but nobody's trying to change or fix it?
Even in the Black family household, you scared to tell your parents how you feel. So if I'm scared to tell my own mother how I feel or my own father how I feel, how am I supposed to tell my significant other how I feel? And I feel it starts from having those conversations as a even when you as a kid, you can't tell even as a kid, I think you should have talks with your kids about feelings, about comfortability, about boundaries. And so I feel as we get adults, it's hard to comprehend the boundary of an older adult to an older child to an adult, where it's like, okay, I'm this age now, I can tell you how this made me feel, or the reason why we have this type of relationship, or the reason why I accept things in my life is because what I've seen as a child. I'm able to have those uncomfortable conversations with my mother now because that is the only way I feel our relationship can get better. But a lot of people don't have that advantage to have that relationship with their parents, to even feel brave enough to have those conversations. So I feel it all comes with us as a generation. Now that we are receptive to therapy, receptive to open communication, is that we start building these foundations for ourselves and going backwards. And sometimes we got to teach the elders, you know, how to open and communicate, because they the ones who don't even know how to communicate their feelings. Like my mom, she's still in the work, my mom's still working, and she'll be telling me things about her job, and I'm like, Mom, that's not right. You need to go to your HR. You need to speak up. You need to blah, 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 because we are in a generation where we're not taking that shit. Like I tell my mom, like, PTO was prepare the others. I'm out. like it's just a different type of respect and boundary. Like, we got mental health days. I could call out and say, I need a mental health day. I need to get my mind right. There was no such thing as no mental health days back in the day. I mean, it's not coded as mental health day. It's still a sick day. But a mental health day is considered a sick day. And I feel like our generation, we have the resource and we have the knowledge now to have the emotional intelligence. So sometimes we say we need to teach forward, but sometimes we need to teach back. We need to express that, because our elders and our parents are still in this world. And I feel like in order for it to become full circle, we have to go back and we got to teach them some things, and we got to be open to teach our kids these things too, and give them the respect as well to be open with their feelings.
Yeah. I brought that last part up only because as I was sitting back thinking about the topic, I'm thinking about, you know, a lot of people that aren't of you know, melanated or, you know,
melanated, I like
backgrounds and stuff like that, Black, Hispanic and stuff like that. Anytime you have certain hues, it comes with certain generational trauma through systematic, you could say oppression, you could say discriminations and stuff like that. And there is so much from back then that still affects us to this day. So if our great grandparents never got over their traumas, if they didn't get over the trauma, they didn't get over their traumas, and nobody's trying to fix our current generations, when does it all change? When do we all embrace therapy? When do we all embrace community and love again? When do we start changing the tide for the outcome of most of our communities? Yeah, there's some affluent people that, you know, get paid, make some money and move out the neighborhood, and they're good, but some of us are still stuck in these communities, these inner cities, because normally wherever you see pockets of people of color, they're normally in an inner city or a community, and we're all stacked on top of each other, and we're all angry from whatever it is, being broke, being discriminated against, whatever it is, and we take it out on each other, but nobody's actually doing the work to fill in these cracks, to not be broken, not only just in relationships, but in family, in business, in self-care, self-love, and all stuff like that. So when we actually start getting family by family, maybe we will affect the long-term generation in terms of just people and community. So that's why I brought that one up. So I feel that was a good topic.
Yes.
And we ran through that pretty quick. I ain't really got much else on the board. So let's go to this next segment where we ask each other questions. This is where she can ask me questions directly and I'll answer on behalf of men, and I ask her questions and she can answer it on behalf of women. So do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. So we're on the topic of therapy and healing. And I feel, as a woman's point of view, and I can only speak from, I guess, a woman's point of view, I feel women, especially women of color, are more into therapy and healing and self-love, where I feel the brothers are not really as focused as we are. Do you feel Black women or women of color are pressuring men of color to become more healed in therapy? Do you feel like it's more of a pressure or more of feel like it's more of a positive thing that women are asking men of color to be more receptive, or it's like, okay, well, I'm getting healed, so you got to get healed? Do you feel it's more positive or a negative connotation?
I feel like when a person or a man or a person is not ready,
Mm-hmm.
it'll have a negative aspect. But
Like that.
those people that are ready, that might come to their spouse or come to their woman and say, you know, I want to fix this and I don't know how, and
Mm-hmm.
they're open to hearing that, I think then it could change, because there's a lot of people that say they need help or they want help, but the only way you can help is to actually start doing the work, not sit there and hope that somebody will do the work for you. And I think that's where the change will come in. So it's not a negative. It's all about how the person interprets it. And sometimes it could be how the person delivers it. Not every message is delivered with kind and care or concern. Sometimes it comes from frustration. Maybe I said it too many times and now you're asking me that, how can you get healed and how can I help you? And I'm telling you therapy, and it's the 50th time I'm telling you therapy and you still ain't do it yet. Yeah, there's
You need to go to
things.
Therapy. Get
So
your life.
you can't send somebody to therapy unless you're already doing therapy too. That's another thing. I've heard one woman who's in a relationship say he needs therapy, and I was like, oh, are you seeing therapy? No, because I don't need therapy. He needed it. You can't send somebody to detention if you're not going to detention yourself. You know, so yeah, so that's that. I hope that answers your question. So my question to you: what can women do to avoid passing down broken traits to their children? That question comes up because of the narrative of single parent households. So that's why talking about the topic of brokenness, how do mothers or women make sure that they don't pass those broken traits down to their children?
Having real honest conversations. I think single mothers are really, and I don't like to talk about, as you always know, as I always say, I'm not a mother, so it's hard for me to really talk about motherhood because I know I do know mothers, but I don't ever want to come off judgmental, because I think the hardest job ever is to be a mother. And I don't know how it is in that circumstance to take care of a child on my own. So I'm very gentle on that topic. But if I was to put myself in that position, the way I feel if I was a single mother, to break that I guess cycle or generational curse, is to be really honest with my child. Like, this is your father, you know, is a great father, but at the point when we met each other, we were not receptive. You know, we were not good for each other. I want you to find a person that is good for you. I want you to find a person that understands you. I want you to love yourself. I think I would be honest with my daughter or my son and let them know the negative things that has happened to me to have caused us to be this way as a single parent. Not saying that is my fault, but I do have to take accountability, because maybe I knew this person wasn't good for me and I still had a child with them. Or I knew this person was caught up in a relationship and I still pursued them. Or I knew this person was lying to me, but I was, you know, weak for the flesh and I still indulged in them. I think we have to have honest conversations with our kids. I think I learned the most when I found out the truth, or I found out the layers behind my parents' relationships. Like, I looked at them as humans and not as my mother and my father, about people who just made mistakes, people who were not mature, people who did not know what they wanted, people who did things out of action and not thinking through. So I think when we have honest conversations with our kids, and I don't know when the right time is appropriate for that, I feel we have to, like they say, lesson learn. Like, you know, in business, something happens and they have a case study and they look at, you know, they tell you the scenario, this person did this, and then da 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 da. They tell you, they play out the scenario, then they tell you what could have happened before to avoid this, or moving forward, what position we have or policy we placed so this doesn't happen again. Kind of like that. your mom and pops, we met at a bad time and da 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 da. I knew this was wrong, or he knew this was wrong, but we continue to do this because we were not educated on how to love each other, or how to communicate. Da, 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 da. Moving forward, this is what we did. We learned that we need to express ourselves. We learned that we don't need to argue. We needed a mediator. We needed to go to therapy. We needed this. And moving forward with you as my kids, I want you to be able to be with a person you can express yourself to. If you feel you can't express yourself, go to couples therapy, or do this or do that, or you see the signs. Da, 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 da. So I feel like we need to have honest conversations, and that may be hard because we don't want to talk about the shit that we've been through that hurt us. You know, to your kids, you want to look in the best light. You don't want your kid to ever look at you like, dang, my mom's, she was dumb. But you know, your mom's at the end of the day is human. Yeah. So it happens.
Gotcha. Do you have a question?
I do have a question.
What's up?
Okay, let me throw a scenario at you. A man cheats and he tells the woman that he's with, I'm a cheater. Like, I don't know how to stop. How does, like, you know how, like, they say, okay, I'm going to word this correctly. Like, men have but then that's not true, because I know a lot of men who are not that way, but men have like this urge or this desire to want to be with multiple women, or it's just in their nature, in their nature. How do we accept nature versus accountability?
Well, their nature.
Is it really nature or an excuse?
No, it was a form of nature back in like the 1600s. Like, it was known that men did this, acted that way. And as you can see with all the Me Too movements, the way men maneuver has kind of halted in a little bit. Can't do all the stuff you used to do. But in the same vein of the times, women are embracing their sexuality and their freedoms. So it's kind of like, can I really conquer and knock down as many of the women I want unless they're kind of compliant or in agreement?
I agree with you.
So it's a man's nature to make sure that he doesn't step out on a relationship. That's accountability. But at the same time, it can't just be all blamed when a man and a woman interact in that form.
They can't be doing it by themselves,
Yeah. If men were only having relations with men, then you could say, yeah, men cheat, all men cheat. But if men are having relations with the women who are
and these women
being complicit,
and these women know that these are not men that are single men, so it's like, okay, we got to take account. Like, I guess it's a two-step accountability type thing. And of course, you may have a nature to look. We all have nature to look, but that doesn't mean you go after everything you look at. So, is it an excuse?
And you have to. But I'll say also, you have to factor in that when people cheat, men and women, sometimes it's not even about the sex. Sometimes it's other factors. Yeah, it's emotion. It's depression. It's lack of communication, lack of time. There's so many aspects that go into cheating. And as I shared earlier of experiencing a cheater, I realized that I can no longer make cheating my end all be all in a relationship, because I experienced cheating in my neighborhood. I saw people cheat. I've seen married people cheat. I've seen single people cheat. I've seen engaged people cheat. I remember one time during my dating phase, I was dating women that were in relationships, married, engaged, on purpose, because I was cheating, or I was trying to understand, why do people cheat? So I targeted people, but that was my brokenness.
Okay, case study.
It literally was a case study. I was really trying to understand, like, why do people cheat? They're supposed to be happy.
I'm out here case studying.
And after the dude, and they were laid up and cuddled and stuff like that, they would start opening up. And I'm like, they complain about the same stuff I complain about. So it's really not about the sex. It's kind of an outlet. And it's just an outlet, and they'll tap right back into their relationship. So accountability comes when you know that you're hurting somebody. You can have a slip up here and there, but it shouldn't be the end all be all unless your mate says cheating is a deal breaker. But I make sure that, you know, I'm married. I told my wife, it's not a deal breaker if you cheat. It's a deal breaker if you can't explain why.
Like I just did it.
Yeah, if you do it and you say, well, I came to you and I said, you know, I was unfulfilled and I didn't feel supported and this is that, and you say, and I'm like, damn, I didn't do it. You know what? That's my bad.
Yeah.
But if I say, yo, I supported you here, this and that, had your back, I supported this like that. So why did you do it after you're saying I didn't? I did all the stuff and I'm proving my argument. I did all the stuff, and you say I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna work because you're gonna do the dumb shit again.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I'm glad you really said I was out here case studying.
I really was, man.
I probably was case studying too. That's what I'm gonna call it.
And in order to try to understand stuff, you got to do some research.
Why he cheating? I'm a you know, be with a lot of cheaters.
Why do people cheat? Let me go and target some people that's looking to cheat. And it's almost like you can't really talk somebody into doing something bad. They kind of already have to want to do something.
Cheaters case study.
That's why I laugh. That's why I laugh when people say, you know, pimps take advantage of women. That's kind of like, no, sometimes the women that they're targeting are the people that they want to take advantage of.
Yeah.
You have to both be in agreement in a sense, unless you are kidnapping or abusing a person. But even then, the self-sabotage might kick in where somebody might feel like they deserve it.
They pick the girls with the low self-esteem, the one that are in the broken, that they feel this is the only way for them to get out. You know, people who are immigrants, you know, I'm not, no shade to the immigrants or anything like that. Just saying people who are in vulnerable situations that they feel like this is the only, you know, the only escape to their already doomed reality.
But you can say immigrants because the working class targets immigrants.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen somebody of color taking care of kids? It's kind of like, I know you don't speak English like that, but you're with these kids and you're babysitting them because it might be cheaper.
Yeah.
How many times you seen busboys, immigrants?
Yeah.
They target people. It's okay. It's systematic. Everybody abuses the system to an extent.
You got it.
All right, so let me give you my question. You ready for this one?
I'm ready, Lord.
This one's a little difficult. Okay. I want you to rank this.
I hate ranking. Go ahead.
It says, what creates brokenness in women the most in terms of a form of abuse? From a father, a mother, a family member, or a stranger?
I think a mother. Because I feel
rank them from 4 to 1. The lowest to the most. Father, mother, family member, stranger.
Mother.
That's the lowest or the highest?
The highest.
No, start back with lowest up.
Like a stranger, like just somebody they don't know or somebody they've been with.
Stranger.
A stranger, the lowest.
A
family member, the second. A father, the third. The third. The father, the second, and then the mother, the first.
Okay, and now why? Why mother the most?
I feel the mother is the most, is the highest. I feel the people, they always say the people with the father issues. I feel people with mother issues is the ones who struggle the most. Because I feel like the mother is supposed to be the nurturer, the one who shows you the most love. Like the person that you came from, like you were in them, like, you know, literally, and you having issues with that person, it's just destructive to the mind. Most of the people that I know that are most broken is because they're issues with their mother, not with their father. Then I would say second is the father, because, you know, the daddy issues, it goes hand in hand with females and males. Family members, because it could always be that one family member that did something to you or said something to, not, it could be sexually or not sexually. Like I could think of things that, you know, an aunt said to me, and right in front of my mother or my father, and I didn't feel protected. And it's like, okay, how could that person have that much hold over something? Or like somebody who's in my family see this, but but the people who I live with don't. My mother and my father don't. And then a stranger, sometimes a stranger could see something in you that no one can see. And that stranger may have an impact on you as a mentor or a teacher or somebody you look up to, and they could damage you in some type of way. So that was those are my levels and my reasonings behind it.
So you next, you got another question?
My next question is, for men, do you feel what parent gives you the most structure for becoming who you are as a man? Do you feel it's the mother or the father in regards to the healing? When it came to you healing as a person, who did you feel you relied more on for advice, your mother or your father?
So I relied on my mother the most. And the main reason is because my mother she had most of the talks with us. So whenever we went on family vacations or long drives, we didn't listen to music. She would talk to us about various things, what's going on in the news, like, what do you think about this and stuff like that. And me, I love to talk. That's why I don't mind talking. And I would have an opinion and reasons why and stuff like that. Now, my brother was the opposite. He would always say, I have no opinion. My mother would be like, okay, well, why you don't have an opinion? The goal was we had to defend and come up with point of views on why, X, Y, Z. So she wasn't just going to let you say, I don't know. She's like, well, why don't you know? Because I don't know. Well, give me 3 reasons why you don't know. And it would keep going. So my mom is the person that kind of gave us that ability to find a voice, ability to dream, or take us on a vacation and say, you know, we're all inclusive right now, but everybody here is working. So you can enjoy life this way while you're on vacation, but don't forget that people still have to work to take care of you. That also gave us a lesson on what type of jobs we wanted, what type of industry we wanted to be in. And I remember my first minimum wage job, like the abuse that I took for 8 hours to get a $40 check. I was like, oh, I can never do minimum wage again. I never did, because I thought about my mom. I thought about the sauce we had, but I took it just to get money. And then I realized how much they abused me and stuff like that. So my mom gave me all of that stuff. And then on top of that, whenever we had something, she was the one that actually sent me to therapy when I was younger to try to find my voice, try to work out stuff in my head. So
your mom.
I'd never been afraid of therapy. I always knew that because I've experienced therapy in different phases in life, it's important to find somebody you have chemistry with. You can't just go to a therapist and be fixed. You need to find somebody that understands you, that knows when to add versus letting you talk and collecting the check. Because I've experienced some therapists that you'll pour out your heart. And like, okay, yeah, so your time is up. I'll see you next week. It's kind of like, nigga, my time is valuable too.
Exactly.
I ain't just come here to rant. I could have ran it at home.
I could have told my friend about this, you know what I
mean? So yeah, so my mom is definitely the one that's more vocal. But not to say, you know, my father, my stepfather or my biological father wasn't there, but they were there in different ways. But my mom definitely was the parent. So yeah. Okay, I got one more question for you.
Okay.
Are women really fooled by the games that men play, or do they just ignore the games that they see?
They naive. They like I said, it's the turn the other cheek. It's the that dodging the red flags. It's the making the excuses. Come on. Especially
so it's not just a man's game, like he just had game. It's either the game is so strong or they just really ignoring the signs. Which one?
You either one, naive and ain't been around the block, or two, you ignoring it. You ignoring the signs. Because I say we all have been victim to the game. I mean, we all don't we all don't game recognize game, and you looking up familiar, grandpa, you know, from the Boondocks. It's like you got to go around that block one time to understand. But you can't keep going around that block, because if you go around that block every day, you could go around that block with your eyes closed. You already know what's going to happen when you hit the corner. So it's like,
is it really game, or is it just I need you to say the right shit to talk me out of my drawers right now? And if you say the wrong thing, and it's coming up pretty fast.
It's what you want to give. It's not like, that's the thing about it too. It's like, especially nowadays, it's like at the end of the day, you know what you're going to give. It's not what he's saying. It's what you want to do. Let's be honest. Because there are men that have game, and I'm like, he is not gonna get none. And it's men that don't even got no game. And I'm like, listen, he gonna get it. So it's like, it's not really a game to me. It's like a choice. It's a choice.
I'm documenting that. Fellas, you heard it. Women are to blame. It's not us. Even if we cheat, it's not us.
But we know who to talk. It's not about the game. It's about we know who to play the game with. Let's get it right. We know who it takes two to tango, like they always say. We know the game. It's who to play the game with. We already know she ain't with it, so I ain't gonna waste my breath. Then you see old girl over there. You like, all right, she hearing what I'm trying to say.
All right. So I'm done with my question. You got any more? We're gonna wrap the question segment up.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
I got all my questions.
So the last part is DNA decoded.
Yes.
What do you have your final thoughts about the topic for the folks?
All right. Well, I gotta say that this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I feel a lot of people want to talk about healing, but we don't want to talk about what got us there to be healed. Like, we don't just wake up one day and say, I need therapy. There's a lot of things in life that we go through. And I feel when we have these open conversations or these open platforms like our podcast, we're able to reflect. We're able to feel comfortable to talk about our toxic traits or the things that we've been through. Because Lord knows that I would never, ever, when I was in those situations, even talk about or even have any type of reflection of accountability of the things that I've been through. So it's good that we have a platform where we could talk about these things, where it's cool to say I was toxic. It's cool to say, I was doing case studies and stuff like that. So I feel this is a great space that we're in as of right now as a generation, that we're open to say, like, listen, I did that, but I learned. So my whole feeling on this topic is that we're able to even have this topic, to even be open and talk about something like this. So I'm happy we were able to communicate and have these conversations today.
Yeah, always. So I'm gonna wrap it up by saying the quotes that are on our page. Remember, the relationshipdna.com. How this podcast started. It was two quotes that stuck in my head. One from Krishnamurti, which is relationship is a highly reflective mirror that reveals your partner reveals to you. And then Zoe's quote on top of that, which was relationship is a highly reflective mirror that reveals from your partner the work you need to do on yourself.
That's a good one.
When you have these cracks and you keep experimenting the same people slipping through the cracks, at some point you got to look at self. The universe is sending you a 911 saying something is wrong. Check engine light, go see therapists, go write it out, catharticism, something, but pay attention to the signs. People don't just come into your life just to destroy it. They come to show you that you still need work, and don't be afraid to do the work. So with that being said, that is the end of the episode, and I already know what I want to do next episode. Ooh. And it came in the form of a conversation where I was like, well, if you trust you, why do you need to trust him? And I was like, oh, that's
take a few.
That's a dope topic. So that I haven't formulated it yet, but it's going to be something along those lines. If you trust me, if you trust yourself, why you got to trust me? So we will see y'all next time. Thank you for coming out, y'all.
Yes. Your best time.